Yeah, so Canva is awesome, and there's so many cool things you can do with it. Even S'more, there's so many different directions that you can go with that as well. But sometimes I get it. Sometimes it's just easier to work with a tool that you're already familiar with to create a newsletter that maybe is going to go out mostly just to your classroom parents. And so, one of the neat things about slides is that it is really much more than just a presentation tool. You can use it for so many other different uses that it's really kind of neat, all of the different things that you can do. So I want to share with you how you can construct a newsletter, make it a template, and be able to then send that out to your parents. So I'm going to actually open up a new tab here. And I'm going to start a new slides presentation by doing my favorite thing, typing in the URL slides.new, which is going to open up a brand new Google Slides for me to start creating with. And so the first thing that I'm going to want to do is that I don't want it to appear to be in this presentation like 16:9 ratio. So I'm going to go initially to the File Page Setup menu, maybe right there. And I'm going to change it from this widescreen to custom. And then once I'm there, you'll see you get a little drop down on what you want it to be. I'm just going to use inches and make it what our standard paper length and width would be, which would be 8.5 by 11 inches, and then apply that. And you'll see it change the whole layout of what that Google Slides looks like. And now I don't need it to be a title slide. I'm just going to go to the blank canvas in the layout. So I'm going to change it to that. Now, one of the things that I might want to do is maybe I want that big block header at the very, very top. So I'm going to use a shape tool and just choose rectangle, for example. And I'm going to just highlight this part up here. And now I can see that there is this rectangular box that's here. But, maybe I don't want it to be a light shade of gray. Maybe instead, what I want it to do is to show up in a school color. And Jody did a good job of pointing out that for Princeton, they had their branded colors that their school is supposed to use. So if you know what those are also, if you have one of these colored areas highlighted and you go up to the fill color part, you can actually create and start using your own custom colors that you tell it. So I'm going to choose to add a custom color here. And I happen to know the hex number that I want to use for one of our schools. And it is this particular shade of blue. And that is the branding that Mora Public Schools uses for all of their stuff. So you can see I choose that and it's going to create that color blue, right? So now maybe I want to layer a text box over the top of this and I want to call it Mr. Mikla's class, right? And okay, that looks nice, but I think I want it to be more centered within here. So of course I can go up and I can just choose from my tools and choose instead of left justified, make it right. And maybe that's not the right color that I would like to use. And on top of blue, think of a nice contrasting color that would work really, really well with that. That would definitely be your white. So I'm going to make that white. And then I'm just going to make this much larger so that it fills that space even better. So you can do that with the text box. Another thing that you might want to do here too is if you don't want to use the text box, this might be another good time to insert word art. So instead I could write in Mr. Mikla's, and maybe on the next line I want it to say fourth grade class. And then maybe the next line, it's going to say newsletter, right? And then I'm going to drop that in here and move that up into this area, which is nice when you do this now as a um, word art. It kind of adjusts as you slide that box around to the right sizes and stuff. And of course, if you don't like Arial font, can you choose something different? Can you choose to add a border around it or remove a border? Any of those different things here that you'd like. Then you can also add different sections into your newsletter by crafting more text boxes, and you can include different images and that sort of thing. This just kind of gets you started. Let me switch back then to one that I've already made to show you some of the other features that you could add into it. So you can see here on this newsletter here is one that I've created. Um, you can bring in your school logo if you have that particular file. If not, there's probably someone in your district office that does, and they could, ask them, and they'd allow you to use it. For example, here then of another feature, this is just another black box here on this outside. It's hard to select it, but I can then add in different things into here, such as like with a date or contact information, other different things maybe you would want to include in a newsletter. Maybe you have a joke of the week because you think it's kind of funny for fourth graders. Maybe you want to include the most memorable moment of the week. And maybe you have something that you're trying to encourage kids to do, like maybe find something to do over the weekend and promote that's going on in your community. Then you can create different sections that are also part of your standard newsletter. Maybe for you as a weekend review, and you can talk about what happened in science or social studies or health or phy ed that week. Maybe you want to point out some upcoming things, that you have a field trip to the apple orchard, or maybe you want to talk about, hey, here is some homework that is due, or here's a study tip that I suggest that you work on. Maybe you need a section in there to include parents to send materials, or to become involved volunteering in the classroom. And you can add whatever sections you want to. Or maybe this is something that you're going to work on with your fourth grade team. And each of you are responsible for a different section, someone for science, someone for English language arts, or someone for social studies. And each person then could be responsible for that different part, and you could work on that update of it all together. Now, what I did here is to kind of set this up so that this could be basically a rinse and repeat type of a newsletter that you could add, or that you could just simply adjust every week that you want to send it out. So what you then do is you want to make this into a template. So once you're in your Google Drive, click on the plus new button, hover down to Google Slides, and using the caret on the right, choose from a template. Okay, then what it's going to do is it's going to open up this template gallery, and you're going to choose submit a template. And then once you choose submit a template, you can say whether you want it to be the original or whether you want it to be a copy, and then call it whatever you want it to be, class newsletter, and give it a category, maybe brochures and newsletters, and then choose to, oh, you've got to select the presentation first, and find the one that you would like and choose to submit that as a particular newsletter. So here's one, choose open and then submit. I'm not going to show you that because I've already done it once, but that's where you would do it. And you may have to give it a moment, but it's going to show up here in your templates that are in this gallery. So now imagine then that I want to create a brand new newsletter. And so I'm going to go to create a brand new newsletter, but I want to use the same template as I had before. So now when I'm here, I go up to that new button again, and down to slides, choose from a template again. And now what you're going to see in this gallery is if I choose this previous one right here, for example, I can open up a brand new copy of that newsletter. And so what I can do is then I can go in here and I can change the date, and then I can change the joke or any other different part that you see on here. And that would be something simple that you should be able to do using the tools that are right here available to you that you're already familiar with in Google Slides. So then you can just take this, you can export it out as a PDF, you can share it out as a Google Doc to your parents as a great way to let them know what's going on or what has been going on in your child's